Vamps is a 2012 vampire comedy written and directed by Amy Heckerling, not to be confused with Vamp from 1986, or Vamps from 1995, or Vamps from 2010, or the Russian film Ghoul, which has the alternate title of Vamp in the US, or the 2019 Japanese vampire movie also named Vamp. There are a lot of movies called Vamp or Vamps, but I think I've made my joke effectively clear. The movie is centered around Goody and Stacy, two vampires living their eternal lives in New York City. We get to see their dating life, them holding on to night jobs, going to AA meetings for vampires who don't drink human blood, that sort of thing. Things get a little tricky when Stacy starts dating a man named Joey Van Helsing, the son of Homeland Security agent and vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing. Then, Goody runs into an old flame from the 60s, Danny, who of course is now an old man in his 60s, and she looks exactly the same. To top it all off, the vampire that turned both of them, Cicerus, comes back to town and makes the girls' lives even more of a nightmare with her conspicuous vampire activities. Alicia Silverstone and Kristen Ritter are great as Goody and Stacy, and they have a great rapport that makes them feel like they're sisters more than friends. The movie starts off by following their misadventures, and they're a lot of fun to watch. They have great chemistry together. But halfway through, the movie actually does take a turn and starts commenting on social changes, and there is an actual theme here of adapting. Goody was turned in 1841, and she has lived through so much that she's starting to feel fatigue with keeping up with the times, acting younger than she really is, and seeing people around her losing touch with having meaningful experiences. Whereas Stacy was turned in the 1990s. She likes all the new technology and fashion trends. She has no problem fitting in because she still looks and feels like she's in her 20s. At first, it may sound like Amy Heckerling is just using this as a platform to complain about modern society or how people are always on their phones now, but it does come back into play when Homeland Security is actually using modern technology to target these vampires. So now, they have to stay off the grid and live like how they used to in the olden days. There is a neat message about learning to experience a moment, living in the moment, and to be comfortable with your age. And the movie also has a great motif of classic film. Stacy and Joey are taking the same college film class, so they're watching old films together, and Goody and Danny start reconnecting through movie recommendations. There are some party and concert scenes where there's a montage of black and white films playing in the background. Also, a lot of people have old movie posters in their apartments. It's romantic, and it actually makes sense that nowadays, when you're dating, one of the big questions is, what kind of movies do you like? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite kind of art form? Though, I thought it was kind of weird that in a scene they're watching Nosferatu, which is a Dracula movie, but the movie also has Dracula characters. Malcolm McDowell plays Vlad Tepes, the real Vlad Tepes. Sean Wallace plays Van Helsing. Goody and Stacy have a human friend named Renfield, and there's a college professor named Quincy, which I thought was a funny touch. The tone is pretty light, so you're not supposed to take it too seriously. There is some dark humor, some cheesy effects, but ultimately, there's no real horror here. The movie is a lighthearted comedy. It just also happens to be about two vampires.